Good morning. Sushi chefs leaving Japan for better pay and conditions. Japanese sushi chefs are moving overseas in search of higher wages and leaving restaurants at home understaffed. That's according to an article in the Yomiuri Shimbun, which says the trend is partly caused by the Japanese economy. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the average annual salary in Japan was $39,711 in 2021, up from $37,866 in 1991, while Japanese workers saw their pay rise by less than 5% in that time. Workers in other G7 countries such as France and Germany saw it go up by 34%. However, another big reason for sushi chefs to move abroad is the global popularity of Japanese food. Since washoku, or traditional Japanese cuisine, was added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List in 2013, there has been a big increase in the number of Japanese restaurants abroad, and many of these restaurants want to hire Japanese chefs, offering higher salaries than they can get in Japan and better working conditions too. One sushi chef who has found success abroad is Yasuhiro Tanaka, who told his story to TV Asahi in late 2022. Tanaka was trained at a sushi restaurant in Ginza, Tokyo, where he earned 3 million yen, just under $21,000 a year. He said the training was very hard and he never got to see the customers. However, after he moved to New York and started working in a restaurant there, he was allowed to make sushi at the counter and his income doubled to nearly $42,000. Yes, of course. In 5 years, he was able to save enough to open his own restaurant and now makes over $550,000 a year. ですよね。Back in Japan, the Yomiuri Shimbun reports that restaurants are suffering from a shortage of chefs, and some sushi restaurants have had to reduce the number of days they are open. In America, however, Tanaka says he hasn't forgotten about his home country and likes to tell his customers about Japan. He also tries to contribute to the Japanese economy by buying his fish and rice from Japan. It's kind of ironic, huh? Discussion: what are your thoughts on Japanese sushi chefs moving overseas for work? There's no other way for them, huh? What are the best sushi restaurants in your town or city? What do you imagine would be the hardest thing about working as a chef? Have you ever worked in a restaurant? If so, did you enjoy it? Have you ever had your country's cuisine abroad? How did it compare to the food you get at home? So different. So having Japanese chefs overseas is a good idea, but for the discussion, do you know anyone who's moved overseas for work? Do they plan to return? No, I don't know anybody right now. Have you thought about moving abroad? I already have done that. What countries would you consider? I'd like to move to Europe somewhere. What are the most common complaints people have about your industry? How do you expect your industry to change over the next few decades? To be successful, the first thing to do is fall in love with your work. That's important, I suppose. Sister Mary Loretta, what are your thoughts on this statement? But can you continue if he pays very low?